So as you guys have probably noticed, maybe half of these Ask hbi2k segments are actually useful answers to questions I get a lot, and the other half are me ranting about crap I feel like ranting about at the time. This is definitely in the latter category, but please bear with me anyway, because this is kind of important to me. Lately, as I've been reading my comments, I've been noticing a lot of stuff like, Viacom or fags, or, oh, that's so gay, where fags or gay is being used as a synonym for lame or weak or what have you. That is really, really not cool. Now some of you may be thinking, hey, hbi2k, don't you make gay jokes all the time? Well, yes and no. If you take something like Guts and Griffith and that whole thing, the joke to me was never, Griffith being the butt of the joke for being gay. To me, the butt of the joke was always Guts for being homophobic, or Guts for being too stupid to realize that Griffith is gay. I mean, you could take those jokes and make one of the characters a woman, and have it be a straight relationship, and the joke itself would still be pretty much unchanged. So, well, yes, it is a gay joke, it's not a homophobic joke, if that makes sense. Now, there have been one or two times where some of my characters, mostly Guts and Zod, have used the word gay as a synonym for lame, and at the time I justified it to myself saying, well, it's not me saying it, it's my character saying it, and it is in character. I mean, considering what happened to Guts as a kid, it makes sense that he would be a pretty homophobic guy and talk like that some of the time. Now, does that justify it? Honestly, I don't know. There's a pretty big gray area there. On the other hand, considering that I could have just used the word lame instead and avoided the issue altogether, in retrospect, that's probably what I should have done. I'm not pretending to be perfect here, I'm just sharing this because it's something that's been bothering me. Now, in my experience, there are two general groups of people who use the word fag or gay to mean lame. The first is those who don't really have a problem with gay people. At some point, they just got into the habit of talking that way and never bothered to stop. And if you are that sort of person, I think once you stop and think about how statements like that would appear to an actual gay person who might be reading or hearing it, you'll probably be a little more careful from now on. But let's say that you actually do have a problem with gay people, that you honestly feel that homosexuality is immoral. Now look, I don't want to be overly preachy here, and I certainly don't want to tell you what to think, so let me just kind of explain some of my thoughts on the matter, and that way, even if you don't agree with me, at least you'll be able to see where I'm coming from. Now first a little background, I was raised Roman Catholic, and while most of the stereotypes that you hear about a Catholic upbringing are just pure BS, it is true that the official stance of the Roman Catholic Church is that all sex outside of marriage is a sin, and since the Church does not recognize gay marriage, ipso facto, gay sex is a sin. So that is what I believed for a long time. But as I grew up and kind of got out into the world and met more different kinds of people, and met and eventually made friends with some openly gay people, it became harder and harder for me to reconcile that belief with the fact that by any other standard that I could think of, they were reasonably good, decent human beings. And that bothered me for a long time, until I realized, who decided that I had to have all the answers? I mean, maybe homosexuality is wrong and maybe it's not, but it doesn't matter to me because I'm not gay. Now, if I did feel sexually attracted to another man to the point where I felt compelled to do something about it, then yeah, it would become a pretty immediate concern of mine whether gay sex is okay or not. Fortunately for me, the only guy I feel that way about is Patrick Stewart, and since I have no indication that he's interested, it's all kind of academic. Now don't get me wrong, I hope that every gay person out there is able to find their own answer to that question and come to terms with it one way or another, because I feel that every human being deserves a decent chance of happiness. But beyond that, it's really none of my business. Now, a lot of people would say, well, it is our business because of the sanctity of marriage and all that stuff. Well, okay, fair enough. But the thing is, if you want to protect the sanctity of marriage, I can think of a lot of better targets than gay people. The city of Las Vegas, for one. And for the record, I do live with my girlfriend, who I am not married to, and we do a lot of stuff, a lot of really fun stuff, actually, which, according to my Catholic upbringing, would land us in hell. So if you're gonna hate gay people because of the whole sanctity of marriage argument, you better put me on your list too. And also add to that list anybody who's ever been divorced, anybody who's ever had sex before marriage or cheated on a spouse, and anybody who's ever cohabitated outside of marriage. And at last check, that includes damn near every adult in America. And if that's how you're gonna play it, then, I mean, that's cool. Just as long as you're not a hypocrite about it, that's all I'm saying. Now, at some point during this little ramble, I'm sure at least a couple of you thought to themselves, oh boy, the PC police got to hbi2k. But I really don't think that's what this is, and here's why. Now, the problem with political correctness, at least the way that a lot of people practice it, is that it attempts to change people's ideas by coercing them into changing their vocabulary and then punishing them if they fail to comply, and that just doesn't work. It's treating the symptom, not the problem. For example, for a long time it was okay to use the word retarded to refer to certain people with developmental disabilities, and when you think about it, that's not a bad descriptive term. Literally, it just means that their mental development got slowed or stopped, literally retarded, at some point in the process earlier than most people. So it's not really an insult, it's just a reasonably descriptive word. Okay, maybe sometimes it was applied in cases where it wasn't really accurate, but there was no malicious intent there, it was just the term you used. But as time passed, it took on a different connotation, and a lot of people started using it not to refer to people who literally had a disability, but as an insult towards people of normal intelligence who just made a stupid decision or a mistake. So a word that had been value neutral took on a negative connotation. So we decided, okay, we don't want to use this negative word to describe people with disabilities anymore, let's use a positive word, like special education, and so forth. So the idea was that we could remove people's bad ideas by taking away the vocabulary that they were using to express them. And this just blew up on our faces. Because, not long ago I was playing a game of Risk with some friends of mine, and I made a dumb decision which kind of screwed up my friend's strategy, and he turns to me and says, "Dude, what are you, special?" So you see, you can't change people's ideas just by changing their vocabulary. All we did was take a word that had been good, special, and turned it into a bad word, an insult. We hadn't made any progress at all. So I'm not asking you to let your vocabulary inform your ideas. In fact, it's just the opposite. I'm asking you, let your ideas inform your vocabulary. Take a moment and really ask yourself, do I really hate gay people that much that I feel that they deserve to be constantly ridiculed? Do I think that any human being deserves to go through their entire life knowing that one of the core ways that they define themselves is also a synonym for everything that's lame and weak and stupid in the world? Now, if the answer is yes, if you honestly are just that big a bigot, then by all means I encourage you to continue talking like that, because that makes it just that much easier for people like me to identify and avoid you. On the other hand, if the answer is no, if you're basically a decent human being, if you don't have a problem with gay people, or if you do feel that what they're doing is immoral, but you still feel that they're human beings who deserve to be treated with at least a minimum amount of respect and dignity, then fucking act like it. That's all I'm asking.